Hello, and welcome to Nostalgia Marcana. I'm your host, Doug Lief. Each episode of this podcast, we'll look back on the movies, TV, games, people, and phenomena that we still love talking about all these years later, and ask ourselves why these bits of pop culture still enchant us today. This week, we'll be revisiting...
From its early inception as a board game in the 1940s, Clue has been entertaining families at game nights worldwide for decades. But today we're not actually here to talk about the board game Clue. We're here to solve a different mystery, which is the movie adaptation of this board game. A singular piece of comic history all its own, and something that, this is a phrase you'll see tossed about with this movie, better than it has any right to be. It's way better than it has any right to be. In fact, this thing is incredibly witty and clever. It is, I think, easily one of the best whodunnits ever made, and one of the most fun, spoofs of a whodunit ever made. It's the perfect comedy mystery movie, and it is a fitting capstone to our 3-episode arc covering the career of Tim Curry. So I'm really excited to dig into this, and I'm not doing it alone, of course. He did it in the conservatory with the candlestick. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Rich Baker.
Thanks for having me as always, Doug.
And of course, my other co-host who did it in the bedroom with the rope. My wife, Ami Lief. Hello. You can be Miss Peacock. Miss.
You don't want me to be Miss White. That would be ominous for you.
Probably, yeah. She doesn't. Her husbands don't fare so well.
Right.
So, guys, let's start digging into Clue here. Rich, I think this was your idea to do Clue. I know we tossed this one around for a while. Or was it Amy's idea? All right, well...
I think it was Amy's idea.
Okay. Well, Amy, I'll start with you then. Tell me about your nostalgic memories of Clue.
All right. So this movie came to me through a friend in 5th grade. She said it was her favorite movie, and it instantly became my favorite movie because I thought this was Christy, and I thought she was the coolest girl in the class, so I had to like everything that she liked. So we ended up watching the movie together, and I loved it ever since. I don't know, when I first watched it, I loved it because Christy loved it, but it's grown into one of my favorite movies of all time. Anytime it's on, I love it. I can quote it.
Yeah.
Happy memories with this movie.
And do you have any memories of the board game it's based on? Did you have a strong association with it before you saw the movie, or?
This was not a game that we played in my household, but I remember going to a different friend's house, and playing it a couple of times, but it really wasn't the game of our house. Our house was a sorry household. We were not a Clue household.
It sounds worse than it is. All right.
Every household has a game that they gravitate towards.
Oh, definitely, yeah. All right, Rich, how about you? Tell me about your memories of Clue, both the movie and the board game.
I think I remember playing the board game before I saw the movie, similar to Amy, at a friend's house. I don't think, I was an only child, so we didn't really play games as a family, but I remember going to a friend's house, and his whole family was playing. He was like one of 3 brothers, and the parents were playing, and I was playing, and it was like really, really fun. And I don't know if the movie had already come out and I hadn't heard of it or what, but I just remember when I saw the movie come on HBO, I was like, hey, that's like a game. And I watched it, and wholly separate from the game, I like the movie. I think a lot of the reason I like the movie is because of the flow. The kind of comedy in Clue is very different from like a Stripes or, a Ghostbusters or so many other typically American comedies. And it's just, we'll get into it later, but there's something about like the young comedy inner workings of my mind forming by listening, particularly to Tim Curry, but really the whole cast.
Yeah, I definitely did not see this movie until adulthood. I think I was barely aware it existed. I believe I saw it before I met you, Amy, but I definitely have watched it way more times since meeting you. We did play the game. We had it at my household. Oddly enough, we had a second murder mystery board game called whodunnit, which I don't remember the mechanics of how it works, but I think by my impression, having been so long since I've touched it, is that it is a better game than Clue, and nobody knows it. So I definitely played a lot of whodunit as a kid, less Clue, but we still had it. And I was familiar with it. And you're right, Rich. If this had hit me when I was about the same age that you saw it, I would have instantly gravitated to it because it has its roots in stuff that I think was foundational to my sense of humor and how comedy works. I mean, we'll talk about it as we get into the movie, but it is really it's a screwball comedy, but it's also a farce. And farce is kind of it's not uniquely British, but it's something that you see more of in British writing. So because of this very the thing that makes a farce work is that it's this clockwork machine of plot and comedy working together in a very frenetic way. That's what I think makes this movie so special and unique. It's that flavor added on to the murder mystery of it that kind of takes it to this other level.
Absolutely. The only other movie I can kind of think of that really hit me as a kid, kind of like this, was Airplane. It's a little bit of different in timbre, but the throwaway jokes and the quickness and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I had a Zucker feeling watching this as well. That there's a little bit of that in there. Although the Zucker stuff from Airplane and Naked Gun, it's like you're taking that, but you're sort of almost winding the clock back to think more those things roots, like the Marx Brothers and Danny Kaye and these much earlier almost vaudevillian forms of comedy. And again, combining, because Airplane is a lot of fun, but it doesn't have a clockwork plot that it also has to do. And so having it do all of those things at once makes this really unique and special.
I feel like there was another whodunit type comedy that came out around the same time, and now I'm forgetting the name of it. But another movie that tried to be like this, or maybe this movie was making a farce of that movie.
Another 80s murder mystery comedy?
Yeah. Does that sound familiar? I'm going to have to look it up after this podcast.
Oh, I'm sure there's more than one comedy murder mystery movie, whether in the 80s or the 70s that preceded this. It's
I
definitely
remember
been done.
wanting that movie to be as good as this movie, and it just doesn't hit quite the same.
Yeah, this movie it's so tightly written and the performances are so good too. I mean, we've talked about Tim Curry obviously a lot on this podcast, but again, you look at this guy's career and the things he's able to do, and it's not just that he's a great talent, he's very he's funny. He obviously is a good singer. He does musical stuff. We talked about Rocky Horror and Muppet Treasure Island where he sings, but it's the timing. It's the precision timing of every little thing he does, because he's got 50% more dialogue than everybody else combined in the movie.
Yeah, he carries the entire movie. But I would say that
100%.
While he stands out, the entire the movie exists because of the entire cast, and I'd say that Madeline Kahn is the other standout. While they're all fabulous, I think it's him and her that are kind of mostly carrying the movie for me.
Yeah, and Madeline Kahn, she plays Mrs. White, and you know her from Mel Brooks stuff like Young Frankenstein and Blazing Saddles, absolute comedy legend, one of the funniest. Oh yeah, certainly one of the if you're looking the pantheon of especially female comedians, but just a powerhouse of comedy throughout her career, and she's great here. She has some of the best lines, and it just again as almost a second lead. She doesn't, I wouldn't say she carries the entire thing the way Tim Curry does, just simply because she's sharing so much,
right?
Compared to him, but yeah, I can't wait till we eventually get to a Mel Brooks movie of hers on this podcast, because what a legend.
Truth.
And either we'll talk about all the characters, but so you've got her, you've got Martin Mull as Colonel Mustard, a very awesome underrated actor who's kind of the glue in everything he's in.
Yeah,
he has some fun ones.
Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd, I mean, certainly a legend. We've talked about Roger Rabbit on this show. But like, what an understated performance from him, because you're so used to him playing these. I mean, this came out the same year as Back to the Future.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like, think about career, high for him, obviously, and extremely like, frenetic character compared to Professor Plum, who's actually pretty restrained.
Yeah. And then, of course, Michael McKean, I mean, he's such a, doing all the physical comedy and playing kind of, changes his character at the end. I don't know. The whole cast is a bunch of all-stars. Yeah,
there is one. So there's a couple of like alternate casting things I thought would be worth mentioning. So Miss Scarlet, who is,
Leslie Ann Warren.
Thank you, Leslie Ann Warren. She's great. It was not supposed to be Leslie Ann Warren. It was going to be Carrie Fisher, who also would have crushed it. But she unfortunately was dealing with personal addiction problems at the time, so she chose wisely to...
She pulled out, it was 4 days before the movie was supposed to shoot. They had to call in Leslie Ann Warren. So for somebody who came in so late, it's so impressive how well she does in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. She's
total professional.
Seamlessly.
Faux Susan Sarandon, as you called her.
She definitely has Susan Sarandon vibes. But the other alternate casting stuff, so... There was a British actor they wanted to use for Tim Curry's part. I forget his name, but he passed away, so obviously he was off the table. They were considering Rowan Atkinson, whose audiences know as Mr. Bean. He's also Zazu from The Lion King. But they went with Tim Curry because he was more famous at the time, which I think that is the right call. And obviously Tim Curry crushes it. I want to see the alternate universe version where Rowan Atkinson does it, because I think he would equally crush it. He's absolutely capable of doing what this movie calls for. And I wish I could, I know they did a stage production of this movie. They adapted it as a stage play. I want to see Rowan Atkinson do this part in a stage play just so I can see some footage of what it looks like.
Nice.
We should also talk about the behind the scenes. So it was partially written by John Landis of American Werewolf in London fame, and he directed the Thriller video. But he worked on it with another guy who, oh my God, the director, whose name escapes me, but he went on to direct My Cousin Vinny.
Jonathan Lynn.
That's
thank
fun.
you.
I also saw something about the behind the scenes where Tom Stoppard actually worked on the play for a while. And then he gave it back and said he didn't want to work on it anymore, and returned the money that they had given him.
I feel like there's some Stoppard influence in it in the script.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it lasted.
Yeah, it's hard to know who's responsible for what. Then another person who was, I think, tapped to work on the script, I don't know how much he contributed, was Anthony Perkins from Psycho, who plays Norman Bates.
Was it Perkins or Hopkins?
Perkins, not Hopkins.
No, I think it might have been. Well, we'll have to look it up.
I'm pretty sure it's Anthony Perkins.
It was him and some other partner that had written some other movie. Apparently, we both read the same article
we read the Wikipedia
about an hour ago.
Great team behind the scenes, of course, and I think we should get into it, because this is going to be hard to do, honestly, because again of that clockwork nature of it. But we'll do our best to kind of go through it and talk about all the notable kind of bits in it. So we start the movie. It is dark. It's night. Tim Curry drives up to this creepy old mansion. He feeds the dogs, and goes in, and we are told it's 1954 in New England. And that will become important because communism and the Red Scare is a backdrop to this movie, in a lot of ways. So that's important. And we meet Yvette, the French maid, played by Colleen Camp.
Who was mostly chosen for her physique, is something else I read in an article, which you cannot deny.
I mean, if you're casting for...
Talented actress. Real talent. A lot of talent.
Two types of talent.
Two very big talents. She is great in the movie, though. She obviously brings a lot more than that. I heard that she actually auditioned in a French maid outfit to kind of seal the deal.
Yeah, we definitely read the same article.
Yep. Okay. She's great. I mean, she is doing this cartoony French accent that is obviously fake, but she fits. I mean, she fits into the role. She fits the world of Clue. She doesn't feel out of place doing this kind of cartoony thing, because as you see, as you watch it, there is a certain amount of cartooniness to these performances. Everything's kind of heightened just a little bit. It's not quite a fantasy, but there's a little bit of this they're not quite. No one's acting naturally. They're again doing this very like 30s-esque patter for dialogue and stuff. So.
Yeah, and her bad for Jackson is justified later when we find out it's a put on accent and she's not actually French. It's like it's kind of, it takes a skill to do something poorly in a way that would justify the character, I think.
Yeah. And so we start having our introductions to the various characters. We meet Colonel Mustard first. They do this running gag, and then I think was it Mrs. White, Miss Scarlet. She broke down. And she hitches a ride with Professor Plum, and we start layering in a few things. One, like the comedic sensibilities is like, cause like Tim Curry, before he comes in the house, he like steps in dog shit, and it's subtle, but like as everybody kind of comes in, they all kind of go, like they notice it.
They look at their shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just to kind of, let us know like, okay, this is a comedic movie. Like it's not going to be like a true like Agatha Christie novel.
Yeah.
We also noticed that like Madeline Kahn knows Yvette, and we find out that everyone is using a pseudonym. None of these are their real names.
And little known fact is like their cars match their piece color in the game. Did you read that little factoid
I
too?
didn't. Because I was thinking to myself as I watched it, like it is kind of odd. Like nobody is dressed in the colors.
Yeah, I thought it was like Miss Scarlet, like Miss White. Like you would expect their colors to match, but apparently the cars are where it comes in.
I mean, there had to have been a conversation at some point when they're thinking about costuming, like should we dress them in the colors? Mm-hmm. But I think it would work, but it would also be like, well, we are immediately told these are pseudonyms, and like I guess you could have it where the letter also told them to dress that way, but I think it makes more sense for these people to like they're not trusting of this. They wouldn't come in they wouldn't purposefully dress to match the name they were arbitrarily given. Mm-hmm. And we now meet. We really kind of get to meet Tim Curry through his introduction to these people as Wadsworth, the butler, who buttles. And like that interchange about like, what do you're a butler. What do you do? I buttle. Again, like 30s comedy dialogue. Like it's setting this tone so well.
Yeah, the pitter patter, it's like the whole movie. It's kind of slow at first, but it gives you hints. And then by the end, it's just like, bap, 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 bap.
Yeah, I heard you must have read the same thing. They all had to watch, was it His Girl Friday?
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, the director made them all watch an old movie called His Girl Friday, which is a comedy, which, again, similar, these Nick and Nora movies, like again, all this stuff from that era. That's what they were going for. And they nail it. And it's there's a gong and it's time for dinner. So everyone sits down to this very awkward meal of slurping soup.
Shark fin soup.
It's like shark fin soup, and then it's like monkey brains is the next dish.
Yep, and it looks disgusting. It's like this white, like frothy. I don't know what they actually used. It looked like egg whites with something.
I mean, it looks like paint. It looks like they painted something.
And she's just like scooping it up, Miss Peacock.
Yes, which is a clue. Yeah, that is a clue that she likes the food. Yeah,
and then this is where she starts talking to about like, oh, but we're not supposed to say who we are. And she says like, oh, we should do this. We should get to know each other. And oh wait, we're not supposed to. And this is my job as a
senator's wife.
Yeah.
You say you are used to being a hostess as part of your husband's work?
Yes, it's an integral part of your life when you are the wife of a... Oh, but then I forgot. We're not supposed to say who we really are. Though, heavens to Betsy, I don't know why.
Don't you?
I know who you are.
Aren't you going to tell us?
How do you know who I am?
I work in Washington, too.
Washington, so you're a politician's wife?
Yes, I am.
Well, come on then. Who's your husband?
So what does your husband do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, he just lies around on his back all day.
Sounds like hard work to me.
Yeah, I like this. Because she says it basically decides I'm gonna break the silence, and I'm a socialite, and this is what I do, and I'm so good at keep having conversations and holding court and stuff because I'm a senator's wife and my husband's very important, and like she's just divulging all this information, and like everybody else is just sort of like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what I'm doing here, I don't know.
They're just staring at her. I think there's a scene with like three of them, or a clip of them, 3 of them staring at her after she's talking.
Like,
They're, holding their spoons like.
Yeah, it's really fun as a way of getting to know her because she is the most kind of like baddie of the 6.
Yeah.
With like a kind of a weird premise though, to like be invited to a dinner, you don't know anybody, you don't bring your own +1. Like I can't think of anything more terrifying than that.
Oh, it's clearly terrifying.
Yeah, right.
And as we're about to learn, like, you know, they have reason to be concerned about this based on what's been going on before they got here. But I mean, this is such the like, one thing this movie does is it knows its source material and its like tropes very, very well. So like the creepy old house, everyone invited to a dinner party under mysterious circumstances. Like, you know, the whole like setup is like, this is quintessential, you know, murder mystery 101. Like, yeah, you get all these supposed strangers there. And it's interesting that they don't directly know each other. They might know of each other to some degree, but
Some of them know each other.
But not really. I guess even like Martin Mull, who
Christopher Lloyd knows Leslie. Somebody knows somebody.
No, Martin Mull knows.
He's a
Colonel Mustard is a client of Miss Scarlet's, but he may not know her by sight.
Okay.
I think there's something about the idea of like, even if these people might not know each other, they might not realize it because nobody looks at one of the other ones and goes like, "Oh, it's you."
Right. Well, especially in the 50s too, you have to like, there would be no social media where you would see pictures of people.
Yeah. But although Mr. Green, I forget that it's my notes. Mr. Green, Michael McKean, says he does know who Miss Peacock is because he works in Washington. When we find out everybody is in the orbit of politics in Washington, D.C. to some greater or lesser degree.
Yeah. This was definitely a plot point where like it went right over my, like all the politics and the nuclear, like all that stuff when I was like 10 or however old I was when I saw this. So confusing. Still a little confusing, honestly, but it doesn't really matter.
A lot of it feeds into the most that, and we'll talk about it. There are 3 different endings. A lot of them that stuff feeds into one of them, but not as much the other 2.
Yeah, and it honestly, that stuff doesn't, like the politics of it doesn't really matter as much as like, this is all just a fun movie.
Communism was just a red herring.
Yeah.
As he says.
Yeah.
But it is important to their relationships. Like it's not the entire reason why everything is happening, but it isn't totally a red herring either. Like it is a factor.
We haven't even talked about like one of my favorite characters of the movie.
Oh, go ahead.
Which is the house. The backdrop of the house. Which like planted a seed in me of just loving old houses, even though it's not even a real house. But like loving secret passageways and loving like older houses and like the character of the house.
Yeah. You also love the Winchester House as well in San Francisco, right?
Yeah, San Jose. But yeah.
San Jose, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this, like, well, I probably visited the Winchester House about the same time that I would have seen this movie.
I mean, and I love haunted houses. Like that, to me, that's like as a trope as well. Like we just did that episode on the Haunted Mansion. Like that had a big impact on me. And yeah, you're right. It's an incredible set. It is a set. It's not, it was built on the Paramount lot. It was eventually repurposed for use as the hotel in Dynasty. Apparently,
yeah,
is the Clue House.
And there's the ballroom was actually a real ballroom from a house in Pasadena.
But we barely spent any time in the ballroom,
right?
Which makes sense given that it was a location,
right?
So, so what else happens? We hear about Miss White says her husband lies on his back all day. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
And this is where Miss Peacock says this thing is her favorite recipe. We find out from Professor Plum that he doesn't practice psychology anymore. We'll find a little bit more why that is later, but he says he works for the World Health Organization in family planning. And then finally we get the arrival of actor Lee Ving, but not his voice, as Mr. Body.
Ah, good evening. You are eagerly awaited.
Are you locking me in? I'll take the key.
Over my dead body, sir. May I take your bag?
No. I'll leave it here till I need it.
It contains evidence, I presume.
Surprises, my friend. That's what it contains. Surprises.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Mr. Body?
What are they all doing here?
Eating dinner. Do sit down, Mr. Body.
Thanks. No, you can take that away, honey.
I demand to know what's going on. Now, why have we all been dragged up here to this horrible place?
Well, I believe we all received a letter. My letter says it will be to your advantage to be present on this date because a Mr. Body will bring to an end a certain long-standing, confidential, and painful financial liability. It is signed a friend.
I received a similar letter.
So did we, didn't we?
I also received a letter. No thanks, Yvette. I just ate.
Now, how did you know her name?
We know each other. Don't we, dear?
Forgive my curiosity, Mr. Body, but did your letter say the same thing?
No.
I see. Can I interest any of you in fruit or dessert? In that case, may I suggest we adjourn to the study for coffee and brandy? At which point I believe our unknown host will reveal his intentions.
That's not the same voice as the actor?
No, I in my research I found out it's actually all overdubbed. It's somebody else, which is weird.
Oh, that is weird. I didn't see that.
It's well done. Like, I didn't notice it when I watched it.
No clue. No clue.
Rich, you want to take it on Mr. Body, but I like this performance because he almost feels out of step with everybody else. He's playing a different character from a different type of movie to me.
Yeah, he's I remember just as a kid being like, there's no Mr. Body in Clue, and I was like, oh, the dead body. Like, it took me kind of a second to figure that out. But yeah, he's got like a Michael Madsen vibe. He's very like he's the real bad guy, so to speak, of like the one blackmailing him. So it kind of makes sense that he's a little more sinister than the rest.
Yeah, and this is where Tim Curry pulls out this letter. He says he's been instructed to read it. And he says, tonight, you've all been brought here to settle a long-standing financial liability. At which point they then go off to the study to hang out there. And Body says, oh, this is all a hoax. He just wants to leave. And then everybody is locked in. Body tries to run out to the conservatory, but there's like vicious dogs outside, so he can't. And finally, it's revealed that everyone there at the party is being blackmailed. And we find out the reason for each of them. So we find out Plum lost his license because he was stripping a patient. Peacock was taking bribes for her senator husband. Scarlet admits she was doing the thing she was being blackmailed for, which is running a prostitution ring. The Colonel is Miss Scarlet's customer. White's husband died under mysterious circumstances, and she's being blackmailed to avoid at least the impression getting out that she murdered them. And Mr. Green is gay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which back then, big deal.
Oh, and he said, he even says something like, hey, I don't really think it's a big deal, but I'd lose my job in Washington. So,
yeah.
Again, I think that 50s setting helps with that being the thing he's being blackmailed for.
Yeah, and again, kind of like some other things, turns out it's not even true.
Yeah, well, that was the last line of the movie, right?
Well, yeah. In that ending, interestingly. So I don't know if in the other two endings that you would that's.
Oh, I guess it wouldn't have been revealed.
Yeah,
I always thought that the last ending was like the real ending.
It feels way more satisfying. Yeah. Again, well, obviously we'll get to that at the end, but I do think that ending is there's something more like it brings everything full circle in a way. So. Yeah, I think that they wisely say that is the quote unquote the real ending. So this, and then of course we reveal that. It's revealed that Body is the one who has been blackmailing all of them, and then we have just a fight breaks out.
Yeah, and then is that when he goes and gets the gifts?
In your hands, you each have a lethal weapon. If you denounce me to the police, you will also be exposed and humiliated. I'll see to that in court. But if one of you kills Wadsworth now, no one but the seven of us will ever know. He has the key to the front door, which he said would only be opened over his dead body. I suggest we take him up on that offer. The only way to avoid finding yourselves on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth. Now.
Yes, he gets the gifts. He gives everybody a gift, and you think it's going to be like, I'm giving you the evidence that I have on you. But that is not what he's giving him in these 6 boxes. It's something far more familiar to the audience.
Right.
All the pieces.
It's the clue weapons, the classic
You had to
ones.
bring in the weapons.
Yeah, this is I think this is a really great adaptation, considering what you're adapting is a board game that doesn't have a whole lot to it. Like they find an amazing way to kind of bring in everything from the game and make it, and it never feels kind of like forced or artificial. It's like, of course these things are there and they're coming in a natural way. So yes, everybody gets one of these weapons. Although the funny thing is, it's like they talk about like half of these weapons are like blunt instruments, like just a wrench, a candlestick, a lead pipe. And they're like, we have to lock these up. It's like, you've got a whole house full of other shit you could hit someone over the head with. Like it's not, but nevertheless. Body then says, well, why don't you just kill, how does this come about? He says they should kill Wadsworth.
Yes.
And then they all just walk away was the idea, right? That's what Body says they should do. Mm-hmm. And then
because he said if he goes to jail, all their secrets will come out in court.
Right. So, and I think is this where Body says, oh no, Body later reveals what he was supposedly, Wadsworth says what he was being blackmailed for, or his gripe against Body, but that comes later, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, his wife. Yeah.
So Body, basically turns off the lights so they can do it. We hear some, commotion, a gunshot, for like maybe 5 seconds, a lot of sound effects, and then the lights come back on and he's lying on the floor, seemingly dead. And now, like, the comedy really starts.
He's dead.
What? Oh, who had the gun?
I did.
Then you shot him.
I didn't.
Well, you had the gun. If you didn't shoot him, who did?
Nobody. Look, there's no gunshot wound. Somebody tried to grab the gun from me in the dark and the gun went off. Look, the bullet broke that vase on the mantel.
Oh, sorry, here's me.
Sergeant, oh.
He's absolutely right. Look, there's a bullet hole here in the wall. See that?
How did he die?
I don't know. I'm not a forensic expert.
Well, one of us must have killed him.
Well, I didn't do it.
Oh, son, I need a drink.
Maybe he was poisoned.
Mrs. Peacock, please. Mrs. Peacock, it's all right. It's all right. You don't know anything. Sit down. Sit down, Mrs. I had to stop her from screaming.
Yeah. Once we get the first dead body, that's when it ticks up a niche.
Well, this whole like physical bit where at first they wonder if he's been poisoned, and then Peacock is drinking the cognac or whatever, and she has this massive freak out, and then I believe is this when Michael McKean just slaps her?
I had to stop her screaming.
Yeah, I had to stop her screaming. He so was like, guys, I'm doing the right thing, right?
Right. It's the 1950s. You're supposed to hit a woman when she's hysterical.
Yeah, very much so. It's like, you can talk about Airplane, like that scene when like everyone just comes up in a line.
They're all on a line to
slap her. Yeah. Very classic. Again, old movie thing you would not do now. Is the slapping.
Good Lord,
across the face.
Anyone in the face, never.
Yeah. This is where Wadsworth reveals that he invited everyone there because his wife had killed herself because of Body blackmailing them, and then he basically they were working like slaves. So because Body thought all of them were un-American. Again, kind of calling up like the House Un-American Activities stuff from the 50s, the McCarthy era. And so he thought, my plan is I'm going to get everyone here, we'll confront him, and then we'll get him to go to jail, which is already pretty suspect as a plan.
Yeah, not a great plan, but.
I'm sorry. Of course, this running joke. He tries to say, well, to make a long story short.
Too late.
Yeah,
but no, he was crying because the reason he was being blackmailed is because his wife had friends who were socialists.
Yeah, it's convincing though. Like it's one of these things where, like, as silly as the movie is, like he like he turns on the waterworks and he's convincing, you know, like he's just that as an actor, like he can do what the scene requires of him. And then they realize, oh, well, maybe, you know, after they're debating who it could have been the cook because she's the only one not in the room.
The cook. And then they all run down to the...
They do that a lot, that like these like shots of everybody just running. Like feet, sometimes it's just their feet as they like run down the hall to a different room. And they go into the kitchen and Michael McKean says, well, she's not here. And he opens the door to what I guess is like some kind of a meat locker or whatever. And she just falls out into his arms with a knife in her back.
Yeah.
But Mr. Body threatened to give my wife's name to the House Un-American Activities Committee unless she named them. She refused, and so he blackmailed her. We had no money. And the price of his silence was that we worked for him for nothing. We were slaves. Well, to make a long story short,
Too late.
the suicide of my wife preyed on my mind and created a sense of injustice in me. I resolved to put Mr. Body behind bars. It seemed to me the best way to do it, and to free all of you from the same burden of blackmail, was to get everyone face to face, confront Mr. Body with his crimes, and then turn him over to the police.
So, everything is explained.
Nothing's explained. We still don't know who killed him.
But the point is, we've got to find out in the next 39 minutes before the police arrive.
My God, we can't have them come here now.
But how can we possibly find out which of you did it?
What do you mean, which of you did it?
Well, I didn't do it.
Well, one of us did. We all had the opportunity. We all had a motive.
Great. We'll all go to the chair.
Maybe it wasn't one of us. Well, who else could it have been?
Who else is in the house?
Only the cook.
The cook!
She's not here.
I didn't do it!
I'd like to know who got her into the meat locker by themselves.
Yeah, right.
Not all, I mean, clearly not all of the details of this murder
Of
mystery hold
course.
up to
Yes,
scrutiny.
of course.
But it's fine because this is a screwball comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and they get a lot of mileage out of the fact that the cook is heavyset.
Yeah,
and, like,
that wouldn't fly anymore either.
you would have to be a dude. If it was a dude, I think they could do it. But yeah, he's like can barely hold her up, and she's like collapsed on top of him.
I like that there's like a scene, I don't know if it's this scene or a different scene where he just like gives up and like drops her. I think it comes later.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, what do I care?
That's when he drops. Tim Curry when he falls into him, pretending to when he was recapping. Yeah,
Right. And so they decide to. They're trying to figure out who had the dagger as the weapon. Peacock says she had it, but she put it down. This comes up a couple of times. Someone had a weapon, but then they set it back down, and so anybody could have picked it up. I tried to watch. I had to watch this movie a few more times to even try and track stuff like that. Of like, wait, because there's other things. Well, who wasn't in the room with us?
Yeah, and you can check it.
It does track.
Yeah.
Okay. Because some of this stuff is like, really, I feel like they're all there. Nobody's missing.
They're there in like one frame, and then they're not there in another frame.
Yeah. And so they go back to the study, and Mr. Body is no longer lying on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
he's gone. Where's the body?
Yeah, and I think this is, so I'm sorry. So they're trying to figure out like maybe the Mr. Body killed the cook. And then we have this thing with the negatives come out, these photographing negatives that are the kernels. And I'm trying to remember how these come into play, but like this is the evidence of him patronizing Miss Scarlett's business.
Yeah, and then Christopher Lloyd, Madeline Kahn goes, no one can get in that position. Christopher Lloyd goes, I'll show you. Get off of me.
Yeah. They also like, well, I guess not with Mr. Green, but Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum are both like horn dogs. And they're pretty misogynistic in the way they bring that out from time to time. Like it's pretty obvious.
Sure.
And so, yeah. Anyway, who is it that, it's Miss Peacock, I think, goes out of the room, and then Mr. Body's body falls on her. Is it her? It's her,
Yes.
right?
I can't remember.
Yes.
Yeah, this is great. I don't know where he came from, like, you know, because he's like sort of upright.
Oh yeah, because she says it's the wee wee line.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I have to, is there a little girl's room in the hall?
Oui, oui, madame.
No, I just want to powder my nose. Thank you.
Oh,
I need to
please.
go.
This is your favorite.
Oui, oui, madame. No, I just need to powder my nose. And then so she goes off to the bathroom.
Yes, it's a wee joke.
Yeah, it's a wee joke. And then that's when he falls on her. Yeah.
Yeah, and I still couldn't figure out like where he fell from. Like
the bathroom.
Yeah, he's in the bathroom.
He's somehow propped up in the bathroom, and his arms are. He falls in such a way that he's able to like wrap his arms around.
Yeah,
her.
He's like sort of looks like a zombie, like kind of with his arms on her, and she's freaking out. And now they're like, oh, now he's really dead, because before Professor Plum had used his quote unquote doctor knowledge to declare Mr. Body dead. Clearly, he was.
But now
wrong
he's got like
a
blood dripping from his forehead. So.
Yeah. Well, they talked about that before of like, oh, there's no gunshot wound on him. There's no obviously wounds. We'll later find out, at least in one of the endings, that Professor Plum shot at Body, grazed his ear, and then Body then decided to pretend to be dead to hopefully basically fake it until he could escape. But now he's really dead. He's got like a big head wound.
Yep. And this is where they all kind of gather in the hallway, and then the candlestick drops onto Wadsworth's head. He's like, "I'm not screaming. I'm not right." And then it.
Oh no. Nobody can get into that position.
Sure they can. Let me show you.
Get off me. No, he's dead.
Mr. Body, dead. Again.
Oh, my God.
She's going to faint. Sorry, cancer. I'll catch you. Fall into my arms. Sorry.
You've got blood on your hands.
I didn't do it. He's got new injuries. Well, he's certainly dead now. Why would anyone want to kill him twice?
Seems so unnecessary.
Well, that's what we call overkill. What we call psychotic.
Unless he wasn't dead before.
What's the difference? That's what we're trying to find out. We're trying to find out who killed him and where and with what.
There's no need to shout.
I'm not shouting. All right, I am. I'm shouting. I'm shouting. I'm shouting.
Yeah.
Like they frame the shot just right so you can see like it's ominous. It's obviously going to fall on his head.
Wait, the candlestick or the chandelier?
The candlestick.
Okay.
That's above on the doorway somehow.
Yeah. The chandelier falls way later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they, I believe somewhere around here is where Tim Curry delivers the premise of the board game. We have to figure out who killed him, where, and with what.
Yes.
Great. And yeah, then they try to lift the cook onto the sofa.
Oh yeah.
And then Mr. Body and like Plum is just sort of between them.
His
like,
arm kind of just rests on her bottom.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
He just lands.
A lot of touching dead people in this movie.
Yeah, we'll get to the bigger one later, which is so much fun. And so now Tim Curry decides we'll lock up the weapons so no one can get them, and then throw away the key. And there's this whole like cartoon business about like throwing away the key.
Yeah.
Of like he's gonna do it, he's not gonna do it, he's gonna throw the key.
It gets a little fuzzy with like him having the key to the door and the key to the little cabinet. And like sometimes he has the right key and some like it doesn't quite work, I think.
And they're not like it's not like super distinctive that like, oh, one's a gold key and one's like a black key and you can tell them apart. Like, it's a small object in the frame, even watching on like a big HD TV. Like you can't notice which key is which.
Right.
But it's one of these keys gets thrown out of the house into the garden. And then finally we get our first.
Which is which key? It doesn't make sense. It has to be it can't be the front door.
It has to be the front door because somebody opens up that cabinet later.
Exactly.
Unless it's never
but
actually
they
locked.
they open the door again when the doorbell rings. So it doesn't make sense.
My suspicion is that it is the cabinet key and the cabinet was never actually locked at all to begin with.
I guess we can't worry about these little details.
Not important.
Yeah.
And now
we need to get Landis and Lynn in here right now. We have questions. We need answers.
So now we have this guy whose car broke down comes to pay them a visit and knock at the door.
The motor. Okay,
The
so
motorist.
motorist comes first, right?
Who had access to the candlestick?
All of us.
It was given to you.
Yeah, but I dropped it on the table. Anyone could have picked it up. You, him.
Look, we still have all these weapons. The gun, the rope, the wrench, the lead pipe. Let's put them all in this cupboard and lock it. There's a homicidal maniac about.
I think
Good
that's a
idea,
good
good
idea.
idea.
What are you doing with the key?
Putting it in my pocket.
Why?
Well, to keep it safe, obviously.
That means that you can open it whenever you want.
But it also means that you can't.
But what if you're the murderer?
I'm not. But what if you are? Well, it's got to be put somewhere. If I've got it, I know I'm safe.
We don't know that we are.
I have an idea. We'll throw it away.
Good idea.
Good idea.
Wonderful. Right away. Brilliant.
That'll do it.
Sorry. Can we help?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb the whole household, but my car broke down out here, and I was wondering if I could use your phone.
Just a moment, please. Very well, sir. Would you care to come in?
Well, where is it?
What, the body?
The phone. What body?
But there's no body. Nobody. There's nobody in the study. No.
No.
But I think there's a phone in the lounge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And they lock him in the library. I don't
They lock him in the lounge.
The lounge.
Okay.
The lounge. But like, I love the like every time a guest comes, that like an unexpected person arrives at the door, the way they all kind of huddle together, and then obviously they haven't had time to cook up what to say in response to this guy's questions. And like usually I think it's like Green or Wadsworth is the outlier, like because they're like, we don't want to let him in, or like they go to the awkwardly long huddle before deciding whether to let him in, but he wants to come in and use their phone, and he says, yes, there's one in the lounge, go make your phone call, and they lock him in there. That's when they toss the key out of the house.
And we later learned that he was invited, right? Because he was the driver of...
He's Colonel Mustard's driver.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, during the war.
Yeah, he did not let that slip at the time. Obviously, that comes later. And this is what I wrote down. This line here is very funny about like, this is where they start talking about maybe they should split up and search the house because it's possible that the killer is a person that's not in the group and maybe is hiding somewhere. And so they're debating who should go with who. And I think Colonel Mustard says to Miss White, no man would be alone together with you.
Yeah.
I love that. And so, yeah, they decide to search. There's the other line I love here is that there's 2 corpses. Everything's fine. They go check out the library. that notion will repeat. Like everything's fine. It's the way it's supposed to be. So they draw lots. This was a missed opportunity to me. They should have rolled dice, but they draw lots to see who will go with who. And now we get this.
And I like their expressions on their faces when they're like matched up with certain people. Like I think it's Miss Scarlet who's like, ugh, because she's matched with Christopher Lloyd.
Colonel Mustard.
Colonel
Mustard. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all of them are like, I think Colonel Mustard is like, he's got the like little tiny piece of the matchstick and he's looking around at like who he hopes to be paired with. He's like, oh, all right, it's with you, Miss Peacock. The old unfuckable Mrs. Peacock. I'm stuck with you. Really fun. And I believe Wadsworth is with Mrs. White, right? They put Tim Curry and Madeline Kahn together.
Yes.
And then who else is like? It's
it was Yvette and Mr. Green.
Oh, I thought Mr. Yeah, you're right. Because they're the ones that are like in the stairway to the like attic that don't want to go. Like they're just standing there waiting for the other person to go first.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that came out by this point, I think I don't know. This must be in here. That the conversations were being recorded on a reel-to-reel, like in the study where they were all hanging out. So that's important. I needed to get that clue out there. They split up. There's a lot of just kind of like madcap stuff. I like just good excuses for physical bits that like
the shower, turning the shower on.
Yeah, that comes in a little bit. Yeah, Tim Curry's like there's commotion.
Too many doors and he one of them he turns as a shower.
It's a shower knob. I like the Miss Peacock like starts slap. It's like a furnace. Like she bumps into the furnace in the basement and she starts slapping. You know, how dare you? Like it as if it had like squeezed her ass or something. She's like real mad. Yeah. She starts slapping the thing. And then they do this other bit where like Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard are like they're behind a bar and they're like trying to both squeeze through this like one person opening at the same time, which is great. Yeah.
And then they do a Waiting for Godot bit with Michael McKean and Yvette at the bottom of the stairs. It's like, go on up. And he's like, all right, I'll go. And then the shot just sits on them not moving for like, I don't know, 10 seconds.
And every time they cut back to them, they haven't made any more progress.
Not a little bit.
Yep. And so, yeah, so they, but nothing really, the other thing that happens is while this is going on, at some point we see someone wearing black gloves tossing all of the like blackmail evidence into the fire. So we'll find out who that is later. We'll find it could be one of the three people. We'll find out later. And now we see a cop at the window. So he has not quite rung the doorbell yet, but there's a cop like that is now in play. He's like searching around the perimeter of the property. And so they go back to we cut back to the guy in the lounge, the motorist. He's looking nervous on the phone to somebody who we don't know who yet. And the fireplace in the room turns around and someone comes out with a wrench. And he's something about like, he's on the phone. He says, one of them is my old boss. He's telling to the person on the phone. We'll find out later. That is, he's talking about Colonel Mustard was his old boss. But then he's murdered too.
And how do we find
Another
out?
Body.
How do we find out he's murdered? Because of the secret passage?
Yes.
Come upon his body. Okay.
Right. Yes. So Colonel and Miss Scarlet stumble into a secret passage that leads into the lounge where they find the wrench and the dead motorist. And so this starts this bit where they're screaming, let me out, let me out.
Let us in, let us in, let us out, let us out.
But like in unison.
Right.
Yeah.
From? Where are we going?
Where are they?
The lounge! The door's locked.
I know.
Then unlock it.
Where's the key?
The key's gone. Never mind about the key. Unlock the door.
I can't unlock the door without the key. Let us in. Let us in. Let us out. Let us out.
It's no good. Stand back. There's no alternative. I'm just going to have to break it down.
Please.
Go.
I know. I have it.
Will you shut up? We're doing our best.
You're shooting at us. Oh, please. I've been shot. I've been shot.
Come out. The door is open.
Why are you shooting that thing at us?
To get you out.
You know, you could have killed us. I could have been killed. I can't take any more scares.
Again, like a much more heightened, like comedic version of this, right? That it's now like choreographed almost. And the other great line here where like Colonel Mustard Professor Plum is saying something about like, you have to let them out or, unlock the door. And Mr. Green's like, I can't unlock the door if I don't have the key. Like there's something like so stupid about like he wants him to unlock this door knowing the key is missing. That's the whole point.
Well, and then Yvette goes and grabs the gun.
Yes, she grabs the gun.
So the cabinet is open, which opens up a whole other conversation about like the stuff being available to grab.
Well, right. So one, she has the gun, which in theory was supposed to be locked up.
Right.
Two, I think when she shoots the gun at the door, one of the bullets ricochets and this is when it hits the chandelier.
1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Yes. That right. This debate starts.
Whole bit.
Yeah, there's a whole bit where Tim Curry is trying to basically saying there's no bullets left in that gun because I counted 1 shot for this, 2 shots for that, and of course it turns out he's wrong. There is 1 bullet left, and that's why the thing falls. nearly killing Martin Mull.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Good old falling chandelier. Nothing more classic.
Yes. And then the doorbell rings. And this is the policeman who's come to check on things. I like this guy.
Mm-hmm.
This actor is like, again, like all of the people that come in from the outside mostly feel like they're coming in from the real world, not so much from the world of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but he's there to basically like, what the fuck's going on? And he wants to use the phone. And I love the bit about like, well, there's a phone in the lounge. Oh, we can't use the phone in the lounge. Oh, we could use the phone in the, nope, there's dead bodies in there. You know, we got to give him the phone in where I forget where they send him. The kitchen? No, not the kitchen.
Library.
The library. He's got to go to the library.
I like this part because this is when they set up like the fake party scene.
Officer, I don't think you should go in there.
Why not?
Because it's all too shocking.
Oh, life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love, life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hope we'll meet again. Oh, life could be a dream. If only
It's not all that shocking. These folks are just having a good time.
If you would let me spend my whole life loving you, life could be a dream, sweetheart. Oh, every time I look at you.
Oh, my God.
Excuse me. This man's drunk. Dead drunk.
Dead right.
You're not going to drive home, are you?
He won't be driving home, officer, I promise you that.
No.
Somebody will give him a lift, huh?
Oh, we'll get him a car.
A long black car.
A limousine.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they're like just making out. And he's like, it's all right. This is
These
America.
people are just having a good
Yeah.
time. No problem.
Yeah, this
man's drunk.
Yeah.
Or like through the curtains when like they have the dead body, the cook in between them. And it's like Miss Peacock and somebody else making out with the cook between them and the hands. Funny.
This is a great physical bit.
Yeah.
This kind of Weekend at Bernie's thing they're doing with the corpses, but it's preceded by like Michael McKean. You're basically because he knows he doesn't want to let him in there, and he's just like it's too shocking. But he knows he can't let him in. He doesn't have time to come up with a good excuse. Like you could see the wheels turning. He's trying so hard, and he's like, "That's his excuse, right? It's too shocking what you're going to see in there." And he is shocked. Like the look on his face is great, and the cop is just like, "Oh, it looks like people having a good time."
Yeah. I like the premise of a party where you just come and you just make out with people.
I like the premise of that party.
1950s. They were a different time.
Yeah. And so Colonel, and then Tim Curry, who's not in on what's been going on, he's sort of, this is the great line about like, well, it's a free country. And he says, I didn't know it was that free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So now the Colonel and Miss Scarlet find another secret passage. They find both of the secret passages, I think.
Well, they're on the floor that they're searching the floor that has the secret passageways.
Yes, and this is the secret passage that goes to the study,
the conservatory, to the right.
Oh, there's one in the
study.
Conservatory as well. Yeah, I think. But that's right. Yes. Is it in the kitchen that goes? No, the kitchen one goes to the study. That's the one behind where the cook's body was.
Yeah, and then they find the conservatory one that goes to the. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, that's
the room that has the cabinet with the guns and stuff, right?
That was in the lounge. Yeah. I can't remember.
Whatever. But yes, there's.
Who knows?
Yeah, so they go to the study, but then someone turns off all the power in the house. And Yvette comes into a room without her French accent now, is talking to someone who's whispering to her, and she gets it with a rope.
Yep.
Shut the door. Did anyone recognize you?
They must have, and not just my face. They know every inch of my body. And they're not the only ones.
It's you!
And then the doorbell rings at this point too, right?
Not quite. First, the cop.
Oh, there's something else that happens.
There's
a lot of things that happen very fast.
Cop gets killed with the, I want to say, lead pipe.
Yeah, he's on the phone to somebody, but the phone gets cut, and then he gets it. We found out, by the way, that phone call before was from J. Edgar Hoover, of all people. So again, the 50s setting kind of mattering. But then, yes, then we get the singing telegram. One of my favorite jokes in the movie.
Yep.
I am your singing telegram.
Just the I am your singing telegram. Bang.
Bang. It's the quickness of it
Yeah.
for me. It's like, it's so funny. And so out of like left field that it's a singing telegram.
Yeah.
Do you know who who's playing the singing telegram girl, Rich?
I know her name is Jane Wielden. I don't know what I know her from.
She is one of the Go-Go's. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one of the more, basically her and Belinda Carlisle are the two you might have heard of.
I know Belinda Carlisle. I didn't know Jane Wielden.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think she's the drummer. I'd have to look that up, but I can't remember if she's the drummer or not for the Go-Go's. She gets like one line. She sings her the line, and bang, she's tap dancing and dead.
Not a bad gig if you can get it. Don't have to memorize much.
Yeah. So the power comes back on. This is where Wadsworth is in the shower, I think, but then the power comes back on. I love when they find Yvette in the billiard room because they're all in a group now again. And they just kind of walk in there and they see her body lying there, and their reaction is so just like, fuck it.
All right. They just turn around in unison and walk out.
They don't.
Like, it just doesn't faze them at all.
Meh.
Same thing. And then they walk, open the front door. They see the singing telegram girl's body, and Jim Carrey just goes, "This is getting serious." So that is our sixth dead body. There was one more person. Oh no, not yet. I'm sorry. There was one more person who comes to the door, but it hasn't happened yet. So this is where my notes break down because this is where Wadsworth announces he knows who did it. And this is what you bring in Tim Curry for.
Yeah, this is when it gets fun with the music and his timing.
Yeah.
I can't I recognize that it's probably made easier by the fact that this is, multiple takes and cuts and things all put together. And that if you had to do this on stage, you would have to do it in one actual single swoop. But I feel like Tim Curry would totally be up to the challenge of doing this because what he's about to do is recount the entire plot of the movie, dragging everybody from room to room, explaining what happened. Obviously, I'll drop in a clip of this, not the whole thing because it's too long, but this is to me what makes the movie.
The murderer was in the secret passage. Meanwhile, Mr. Body been on the floor. He jumped up. The murderer came out of the secret panel, picked up the candlestick. Mr. Body followed this out of the study into the hall looking for an escape. The murderer crept up behind him and killed him. Will you stop that? No. Then he threw him into the toilet.
This is whoever had the idea to even put this in there.
This is
a
like
genius.
This is an Oscar. I know this sounds ridiculous, but I feel like it's so good. He should have been getting awards for this performance in this segment.
I mean,
100% agreed.
Again, I was trying to think of who else could do this, and Rowan Atkinson can do it. He would definitely have been up to the challenge of pulling this off. It would have been amazing to watch him do it, which is why I want to see it.
You have to drop in the score here too, however it goes. That's such a good piece of this.
The score is great. I forget who wrote the music. It fits obviously, but this is where it amps up into again, kind of cartoony, fast-paced stuff. And as you watch him, it's kind of I'm trying to think of, there's other scenes in movies where people recount something really quickly. The only one that's coming into my brain right now is that bit in Frozen 2 where Olaf recounts the events of Frozen 1. But it's not, first of all, obviously it's animated, and it's not, it's
a minute.
It's 90 seconds long. This is 10 minutes or something of just sustained monologuing as he just runs from room to room trying to demonstrate what happens. And he's talking all the while about wait, but who wasn't in the room? This person must have gone here, and then they went through the secret passage.
And he's dragging people from room to It's so fun.
Yeah. Like I said,
it's very much got like a Greek chorus dynamic because he's doing almost all the talking, but then they'll sometimes talk as individuals, but mostly like respond to him as a group, you know, like too late, get on with it, this kind of stuff. And so it's very like call and response.
Yeah, and what I love about it is he's probably right about all of these deductions he's making. I don't know how anyone would have actually come to any of these conclusions watching the movie up to this point. It's impossible. Yeah. But it is like this is very much like there's a monologue at the end of The Maltese Falcon where Humphrey Bogart as Sam Spade, he's got all of the suspects at his office or in a room somewhere, and he starts monologuing. And he does basically this. He starts saying, but this, you did this and you went there. See, but I realized that it's that, but like the comedic version. And again, like over a much longer period of time, much more, complex and comedic. Like this is, I think, the most special thing in the movie. It's this is what puts it over the top for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like the whole movie's good, but I mean, it's very much like set up for this huge big finale, kind of like a musical number or something at the end of a musical.
Yeah, I mean, just so special. But after this, we start getting some confessions out of people. We find out that the cop was on Scarlett's payroll. We find out again that the motorist knew the colonel in the war, and that he was war profiteering by basically sneaking out parts for radio equipment and planes and selling them. That's how he made all his money. We find out the singing telegram girl was the patient of Professor Plum's that he was shipping. All of this stuff starts coming out, and then there's a ring at the door, and it's this guy telling him the kingdom of heaven is upon us, and it's like, oh my god, like one more,
go home.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Don't. If you come in, you're gonna die.
Yes.
Good evening. Have you ever given any thought to the kingdom of heaven?
What?
Repent. The kingdom of heaven is at hand.
You ain't just whistling Dixie.
Armageddon is almost upon us.
I got news for you. It's already here.
Go away.
But your souls are in danger.
Our lives are in danger, you beatnik.
And then, of course, the whole question has been kind of rolling around of like, well, who could have committed these murders if we were all together? Who wasn't in the room when the murders were committed? And they realized it was Yvette. That she was acting under orders from one of the others. And this takes us into the first ending, which is the Miss Scarlet ending.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think all of the like political stuff comes in, because we find out basically she has a prostitution ring, but that is more of a vehicle for her to obtain lucrative secrets.
Yeah,
and that's what
she's in
sells.
the business of secrets, right?
Yeah, an information broker.
Yes. She's the spider from Game of Thrones. She's in the secrets business.
Yes. And that's why for her, communism is a red herring, because it ultimately doesn't matter what the nature of the secret is. It's just, information she can sell.
Yeah.
And we get the of course, the Gone with the Wind line after she is caught. Because the doorbell rings and it's all, the Jesus guy, of course, is one of he's like the police chief or whatever, and it's all the cops come in.
We could expose you. 6 murders.
I hardly think it will enhance your reputation at the UN, Professor Plum, if it's revealed that you have been implicated not only in adultery with one of your patients, but in her death. And the deaths of 5 other people.
You don't know what kind of people they have at the UN. I might go up in their estimation.
And it's no good blackmailing me, madam. I have no more money.
Neither do I. I know, sweetie pie, but you can pay me in government information. All of you. Except you, Wadsworth. You, as a mere butler, have no access to government secrets. So, I'm afraid your moment has come.
Not so fast, Miss Scarlet. I do have a secret or two.
Oh, yeah, such as?
The game's up, Scarlet. There are no more bullets left in that gun.
Oh, come on, you don't think I'm gonna fall for that old trick?
It's not a trick. There was 1 shot at Mr. Body in the study, 2 for the chandelier, 2 at the lounge door, and 1 for the singing telegram.
That's not 6.
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
There was only 1 shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, not 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Okay, fine. 1 plus 2 plus 1. Shut up! The point is, there's 1 bullet left in this gun, and guess who's gonna get it? Oh! Ah!
Wadsworth. Well done. I did warn you, my dear. Mr. Hoover is an expert on Armageddon.
Wadsworth, don't hate me for trying to shoot you.
Frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. As I was trying to tell you, there are no bullets left in this gun, you see? 1 plus 2 plus 1.
It's 2 plus 1 is...
How do we feel about the Miss Scarlet ending?
It's fine.
It's fine. I mean, you already know. I feel like the final ending is the real ending.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, when this movie was in the theaters, you wouldn't get all three. You would get one random ending.
Right. And the newspapers or like the advertisements would tell you like which ending was playing in which theater, so you could bounce around to all. And they really thought that it would bring in more money for the studio, but it was a total flop.
Yeah, the movie.
Oh wow!
The movie was not a commercial success. Basically, it had a $15 million budget and it made like $14 million and change. So it didn't quite make back its budget, and I'm sure that doesn't factor in advertising and everything else. Now, over the long haul of people loving this movie and buying it, like I'm sure they made back their money eventually because it became a cult classic.
But whoever came up with the idea of throwing all three endings on and like putting in the little like this could have happened. Or what about this? But this is what really that was, I think, a smart move for that VHS.
Oh, God. Can you imagine if they tried to sell 3 different VHSs? You had to buy 3 copies of the movie? No. That would not have worked.
Right.
And I'm sure they, that's the other thing that was probably against it in doing that in the theaters, which is people would not go to see it 3 times. They would just go, well, eventually it will come out on VHS and I'll watch it at home. It's 1985 and I can do that. Mm-hmm. Or they'll show it on TV or something and I'll catch it. But I still think this idea of having 3 different endings is so fun for a murder mystery. I'm trying to think of the name of it now. There's a Charles Dickens book. It was the last book that Charles Dickens wrote, but he never finished it, and it was a murder mystery, and he never got to the end to reveal who done it. Mm-hmm. The Mystery of Edwin Drood is what it's called. So someone adapted it into a stage play. And apparently the way the stage play works is the audience votes on who they think the killer is. And they have an ending written for each of the characters for who it could possibly be, including one character who's like a 10-year-old boy or something. There's still an ending for him. So that reminded me of this. Mm-hmm. But the concept of even having multiple endings is great. So that's the Miss Scarlet ending. Then we find out, of course, it could have happened like this. Mm-hmm. And we get the Miss Peacock ending.
Yeah.
Which I love for she's a jolly good. This is when they sing, right? And they all happen to have like perfect harmony.
Yes. Yeah. It is perfectly sung. They all know what to do. I'm trying to remember what the rationale is behind her being the killer. Anybody?
You murdered them all. You were the person who was missing when the cook and Mr. Body were murdered. And the cook used to be your cook. Don't you remember your fatal mistake? You told us at dinner that we were eating one of your favorite recipes. And monkey's brains, though popular in Cantonese cuisine, are not often to be found in Washington, D.C.
Is that what we ate?
Why would I have murdered all the others?
Obviously, in case Mr. Body had told them about you.
So it was all nothing to do with the disappearing nuclear physicist and Colonel Mustard's work on the new fusion bomb.
No, communism was just a red herring. Mrs. Peacock did it all.
There's no proof.
Well, the gun is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the gun is the murderer.
Very well. What do you propose to do about it?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all. I don't approve of murder, but it seems to me you've done the world a public service by ridding it of an appalling blackmailer and his disgusting informers.
But the police will be here any minute. What happens then?
Why should the police come? Nobody's called them.
You mean?
That's right. Now, I suggest that we stack the bodies in the cellar, lock it, leave quietly one at a time, and pretend that none of this has ever happened.
Great idea. I'll leave first, if you don't mind.
Be my guest. In fact, I think we all owe you a vote of thanks. For she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny, which nobody can deny, which nobody can deny. For she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly good fellow, for she's a jolly...
I told you I didn't do it.
I don't.
I feel like this is the weakest of the three.
It all kind of blurs together. Honestly, who did what when.
Yeah. There is, before we get to the quote unquote real ending, there was a fourth ending that was filmed. It was filmed and not used because they said it just wasn't good enough. Where Tim Curry killed everybody. And again tries to get away with it, and he's like chased by dogs or something, and the dogs get him. So that's that ending. Again, I think it exists in the script. They did film it. I've never actually seen the footage, but they never even thought it was good enough to include in any cut of the movie. So now we get to the real ending, which is everybody killed one person.
Mm-hmm. Which feels so much more satisfying.
Sorry, didn't mean to frighten anyone. You're a bit late for that! Then there were 3 more murders. Let's consider each murder one by one. Professor Plum, you knew that Mr. Body was still alive. Even psychiatrists can tell the difference between patients who are alive or dead. You fired the gun at him in the dark and missed. So you pretended he was dead. That's how you were able to kill him later, unobserved.
That's right. He was the missing person in the kitchen after we found the cook dead.
But he was with us in the billiard room when we found Yvette screaming. If that's when the cook was killed, how did he do it?
I didn't.
But you don't expect us to believe that, do you?
I expect you to believe it. You killed the cook. She used to be your cook, and she informed on you to Mr. Body. You made one fatal mistake. Sitting here at dinner, Mrs. Peacock told us that she was eating one of her favorite recipes. And monkey's brains, though popular in Cantonese cuisine, are not often to be found in Washington, D.C. Colonel Mustard, when we saw the motorist at the front door, you took the key to the weapons cupboard out of my pocket.
Then you suggested that we all split up. You separated from Miss Scarlet, crossed the hall, opened the cupboard, took the wrench, ran to the conservatory, entered the lounge through the secret passage, killed the motorist with a blow on the head. Like that!
This is incredible.
Not so incredible as what happened next. After we all split up again, I went upstairs with you. Yes, you, Mrs. White. And while I was in the master bedroom, you hurried downstairs and turned off the electricity, got the rope from the open cupboard, and throttled Yvette. You were jealous that your husband was stopping Yvette. That's why you killed him, too.
Yes.
It's so much better. So Professor Plum, we find, he shot at Body, he missed, and so he finished the job. Peacock killed the cook. I'm trying to remember why she killed the cook, but that's where that clue that she, that was her favorite meal became important. Mustard killed the motorist because he knew
he was his driver. Yeah,
his driver. Mrs. White killed Yvette, and we need to park on this for a minute because this is where we get the greatest monologue in the movie.
Oh,
other than the Tim Curry,
which was ad-libbed.
You were jealous that your husband was stopping Yvette. That's why you killed him too.
Yes. Yes, I did it. I killed Yvette. I hated her so much. It flames on the side of my face, heaving breaths.
But while you were...
Yes, this is improvised.
Yeah, improv, baby.
This is why you hire Madeline Kahn.
Flames on the side of my heaving flames. I could be a voice actor.
Yeah. I watched an interview with Tim Curry in prep for this, and a relatively recent interview with him, and he was asked, what some of his favorite movies were of his career, and he said Muppet Treasure Island, which we talked about, and this one. And he was asked about this moment. And and he said, it was improvised, and basically you had to scrape us off the floor. We had to try so hard not to laugh. It was so good. And just absolutely incredible moment. So he was just, again, very high praise for his co-stars.
I love how long it goes on too.
I mean, you can tell like it's one of those things where like they know it's comic gold. They don't know how it's going to end because she's improvising, right?
Yeah.
It's not as like it works because the rest of the movie is so clockwork and precise in its pitter patter timing that this like kind of breaks that mold, and that's why it's just so funny because like these characters always know exactly what to say, and here she can't put the sentence together.
Yeah.
So good. I found some very funny like t-shirt designs with just like it looks like an old movie poster sort of, and she's like, oh, like making this like face, and like there's flames everywhere. It's really good. She killed Yvette because Yvette was stripping her husband. That was revenge. And Miss Scarlet killed the cop. And Wadsworth is the one who killed the singing telegram girl, but I can't remember why. And we reveal that because she knew, I guess, that he was in fact the real Mr. Body, and that the guy who dies at the beginning of the movie is actually his butler.
Yeah, and the singing telegram girl and all of them were his informants that he wanted to. They were loose ends.
Right. But Green shoots him, confirming there was in fact one more bullet in the gun. Oh no, that's his own gun that he brought because he's a federal agent. Yeah, it's not the gun. It's a different gun. And everyone runs in, and
we get that great death moment. Good shot.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah. And then again, all the cops burst in, and Green gives this great line.
Are you looking at me to give
Go
it?
for it.
I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife.
Yeah.
And then we all go out to shake, rattle, and roll.
Yep.
As all the like little cards flip over, which is cute.
Fun music choices too. Like not only that song is fun, but like the "Life Could Be a Dream." Like I like that.
Yeah, there's three I think different songs from the 50s that appear in here. One is "Life Could Be a Dream." They're all covers, like "Shake, Rattle, and Roll," and I think "In the Still of the Night" is also used at some point.
I don't remember.
If I could, I think it's in there somewhere. I think. Man, what a great movie! Nothing like it.
A lot of fun. You were talking about the score earlier. The guy's name is John Morris, and he also did the theme for Coach and Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
The Blazing Saddles connection makes sense, I guess, if you think of Madeline Kahn.
I'd like to
maybe.
rewatch that movie.
Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That movie's amazing.
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Very, very special movie. I almost don't know what to say about something like this because it is, I mean, we've been talking about it for, a little over an hour, and like in a way, like we haven't touched on like half of the movie because so much of it is just buried in these little interchanges. Like the plot is almost irrelevant because it's this whirlwind of like, wait, what? Like you can barely keep up with what's being said and what's happening.
Yeah, and you can't really like explain the jokes and how they're funny. I feel like you just have to watch the movie and you'll get it. Like us delivering these like wee madame, like you don't, unless you've seen the movie, you're not going to laugh at that.
Yeah, because they're all embedded in the context of the rhythm that it sets from the beginning.
Right.
This is a type of humor that we don't really see a lot of anymore. I feel like, and that's not to say there aren't, great comedic things being made, but so much comedy now is all basically some version of awkward. Like it's so much comedy is just like, what if we created an awkward situation that was awkward and then our characters stood around being uncomfortable in that awkward situation? And like, I miss the like, no, give me a clever like setup and punchline. Tell me a joke. Like, again, you mentioned like Blazing Saddles, like that is Mel Brooks, like through and through, right? Or Steve Martin would do this stuff. Like I want like, that. And this movie is, again, I mean, they were going out of their way to do an older style of comedy from even, 30, 40 years before 1985 when this movie came out, right? They're really hearkening back to like black and white stuff.
Yeah.
And it works. Like there's something fun about these dad jokes that they do.
They're just terrible little stupid jokes, but they work for some reason.
It's the way they're delivered. It's like you need actors who understand how to deliver this stuff. And I think it helps that the director was, a theater guy. This was his first movie. Obviously he wrote a lot of the script is attributable to him. Tim Curry mentioned in that interview that they knew each other. They went to high school together. Mm-hmm. He and the writer director on this, Lynn and Jonathan Lynn, right? And it shows like that, like as like Rich and I know you and I are both like kind of students of comedy. Like the machinery of this, like anybody can stand around looking awkward. It takes an extra talent to be able to not just deliver any punchline, but to have, like you said, they're corny jokes, a lot of them.
Yeah. When I lost my mommy and daddy in the war, like that's not funny, but the way he delivers it is like hilarious. Like all these little like punny jokes.
Yeah, they're dad jokes, right? It's vaudevillian stuff, but that to me is what makes it so impressive, is that you got all of this humor layered on top of the murder mystery to like drive it. And again, all of this like incredible work and dedication to a board game adaptation. No one put this thought and care when they made Battleship the movie.
They did not. But whenever they make Hungry Hungry Hippos the movie, they better cast some good people.
Oh, Doug, your special reel will have to be Guess Who.
Guess Who?
Did you ever see that, Rich?
I can't claim credit for this. I was just in it for like a fraction of a second. But we at our old improv theater, they would do they do these like video making competitions amongst like the cast, like not even really for the audience necessarily, just for themselves. They would do these things, and there'd be a theme for the week, and they would go out and make these videos. And I forget what the theme was. It must have been some kind of like adapt a game.
I think it was adapt a board game.
Adapt a board game.
Yeah.
And they made Guess Who, the board game, as this like, again, like almost Usual Suspects.
Yeah, it's still like a murder mystery kind of thing.
Yeah, our buddy and friend of the show and guest Dan Oster was in it, playing a character in there. Bunch of guys I know from the old improv days were in it. It's very, very funny. But that obviously was a joke adaptation.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't think you could actually sustain a Guess Who movie that way, but this works. Like this actually works as a movie, like in a way that like I don't know if you're to adapt Monopoly. I don't know that it would work this well. I'm not saying it's impossible. That Barbie movie was pretty good, but like it is impressive they take something that's this thin and then made something this good out of it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And, you talk about like vaudeville and stuff. One of the best sketches of all time, I still think, is Who's on First. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of Who's on First influence. And probably other sketches at the time, but just like the wordplay, the back and forth, all this kind of stuff. And, as you said, you really needed actors who understood how to not just deliver their lines, but to deliver in rhythm with someone else in a way that was really stylized specifically.
Yeah. Again, we're not doing it justice by talking about it. You have to just watch this and see how they do it, because it's what makes this movie a classic. And I'm glad people found it over the years, and now it's like oh yeah, everybody's seen it now. Like it finally found its audience, and I feel like when our kids are older, I think they'll dig it.
Really like it. Yeah, I posted something on my Instagram today just to kind of tease it, and I got so many comments back about like I loved that movie, or so and so my husband loved that movie. So it's just like the movie for people that are our age for sure. I'd be curious to see if people in their 20s and 30s also have that kind of same affection for the movie.
I think what makes it special that way is it really is one of a kind. There are murder mysteries, there are even comedy murder mysteries, but there's nothing that quite does all of these things as well as this movie does. Mm-hmm. It's just very impressive. Yeah. So we've been kind of talking around it, but Rich, in your opinion, why do you think we're still talking about Clue almost 40 years after it came out?
It's a very classic movie. Being a period piece helps because it doesn't feel quite as dated as some other 80s movies might. And I just think that, as you said, it's very original. It's unlike any other movie I can really think of. Johnny Dangerously, kind of in the same world. There's a movie called Oscar from 1990. It's kind of borders, but really there's no other movie that that I would go, oh, Clue is a lot like this, but different. It's really not. It stands on its own. And I think that uniqueness, and not just being unique for unique's sake, but being unique and being very funny and very smart. And especially for people in our generation who saw it as young kids, I think a lot of us nerds were like, oh, we got the jokes that maybe some people that other people wouldn't even waste their time to try and decipher it. They'd be like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But like, we're like, oh, I see what he did. And that was fun. And then he meant this and that and the other. And like, I know that I kind of felt like I was in a little secret club of people who liked Clue versus didn't.
Aim, how about you?
Yeah, I think we already kind of touched on everything, but just like this cast who worked extraordinarily well together, who must have practiced like a lot to kind of get that timing down, and just like a really fun, like you said, rich, clever script. And this is just like the humor that I like, that just is silly humor, but it's very universal.
Yeah, I mean, this movie has so many ingredients that are in other great comedies, but very few movies would have all of them together. And, the added fun thing about a mystery is, wanting to know who did it, right? You're trying to solve the mystery along with the characters. And in doing that, you get so swept up in it. And beyond that, you have, again, these like powerhouse comedic performances that are like the flourishes of this stuff, right? They're like, not is it just kind of like generally funny as you go along, but then they come up with these things like the Tim Curry exposition thing at the end, or Madeline Kahn's speech, where these people really kind of take a chance to like just, let me crack my knuckles here and do something really fucking funny. Wait till you see me do this. I mean, again, like we can't say enough good things about Tim Curry generally, but in this movie in particular, I can see why he's cited as one of his favorites, because he gets so much to do and he gets to really show off his chops. And I just, again, as someone who like spend a lot of time thinking about like not just comedy, but like how does comedy actually work under the hood? There's so much here to appreciate. It's just so special. And so whether you're someone who's really watching all of those fine details or just enjoying it as a movie, the charm of this thing is hard to ignore. So really, really special piece of filmmaking. So we've come to the end here, Rich. So if you, Rich, where can people find your good stuff if they want to hear more of you?
Well, thank you. Go to richbakercoaching.com or follow me on Instagram or Facebook at richbakercoaching.
Aim?
I make handmade clay jewelry. If you want to find me, you can find me at Momo Bunnies More Co. on Instagram and Twitter.
And
that's not true. Instagram and TikTok.
Yes. And so a couple bit of admin things here on our side. One, of course, if you like the show, please do drop it a review on iTunes or wherever you found it. It doesn't take long to do, but it does really do a lot to help increase the visibility of the show so other people can find it and enjoy it. So please do that. In terms of our schedule, the plan is to slot this at the end of our Tim Curry run, which was Rocky Horror Picture Show, Muppet Treasure Island, and this. Coming up next is Batman 89, from doing this right. And then after that, I've got a couple of episodes in the works which on things that'll be fun. So we've got one coming up I'm going to do on Care Bears, that franchise. One on the 16-bit era of Disney video games with old friend Eileen and another guest, Eileen Mays. So we'll be talking specifically about the Aladdin game, the Lion King one, and Mickey's Castle of Illusion. So that early 90s run of like cool Disney games. And then another video game one, I was invited to do a guest shot on a show called Teamworks. So I went on their show and they're going to come on our show. And he's bringing with him a childhood favorite of his, which is Crash Bandicoot, which tells me how old I am because that game is from the late 90s and it was a childhood favorite of his. So we're all just marching towards the grave. Anyway, if you want to find us on the socials, I put links to all that in the show notes, but basically we are on X, really Twitter, @NostalgianPod. We're also on BlueSky at NostalgiumPod, and then we're on Threads and Instagram at just Nostalgium Arcanum. And if you're going to go to any of those, please go to the Instagram one because that's where I post all the bonus stuff. And so that is a good place to find us. Guys, I'm so glad we got to do this. We've been talking about this one and Clueless for a while, so we'll have to come back and do Clueless soon. Clue and Clueless. But yeah, I just love having you guys on this. It's always fun to have both of you together too. It's a great pairing.
It's always fun to be on.
It's a blast. Thanks always.
All right, guys. Well, that'll do it for tonight. And long story short,
Too. I'm waiting for Rich to do it with me. Too late.
This is hard to do on a Zoom call, guys.
Oh, too late. Yeah.
Too late.
Damn it.
All right,
so, we'll work on it. We'll get it better next time.
All right, until next time, there's one more entry.
All right, I'm going to go sleep with my wife. All right.
Until next time, there's one more entry in the Nostalgium Arcanum.
Hello? Yes. Double homicide. Both victims suffered stab wounds. Front door was unlocked, so it seems like there was no forced entry.
Neighbor said they had a block party last night. Everybody in the gated community was here.
Then everyone's a suspect.
Corrugated steel. Security cameras everywhere. The only way in is through the front gate.
How do we fit the same description?
Only 24 people had key card access.
Alex.
Alfred.
Anita. Ann.
No. You ain't cuffing me unless you buying me dinner.
Tom.
Herman.
And Peter. The old queen.
She's stable, but she's shell-shocked. She'll only answer yes or no questions.
I guess we'll have to ask the right ones. The person who attacked you, were they wearing glasses?
Did the person have a neck beard? Come on, give me something!
They have big lips. Hair unnaturally orange.
Where do you think you are? You're a long way from home. This ain't Candyland. We police our own.
I just moved here.
You're just gonna keep guessing and guessing and guessing.
This person had a hat.
And guessing.
Was the hat brimless? Was the hat brimless? We got him.
Thank you, ma'am. You're free to go.
The person we're looking for is Bernard Mishkin.
The person who attacked you, were they wearing glasses? What about rosy cheeks? Were they blushed?
What do you mean you don't know where he is?
They have big lips. Hair unnaturally orange. Did this person have a hat?
Was the hat brimless? Was the hat brimless? Boss, Bernard died of a heart attack a week ago.
Did you ask if it was a man or a woman?
I thought you did.